everyone. Today I'd like to talk about the role of the saver and how to get rid of it and how to free yourself from the constant saver. If you feel like you have a helper complex, a compulsive helper complex, and it's very important for you to save people, to help them, and in the end you see it's not really working out the way that you thought it would. The thing is that most of you will know the situation when you're surrounded by people or maybe certain family members, so that's more like a constant trigger, of certain friends, close friends, who have a problem, who seem to suffer for a certain reason, who seem to have the same problem all the time, and they just can't get out of that state. They can't get out of that state of mind, can't get out of the way that they feel about it, and oftentimes they will probably feel like a victim, and they will feel very helpless, and they will just have an awful time. And you, as a caring person, will probably want to soothe their pain and their misery, and you want to help them, so you're there with advice, giving them advice, give them energy, you're there for them, you're listening to them, which is all good and well, but I'd like to point out that it's really important that we're staying within our own energy, that we're setting limits as well, because those people who really love to be victims, and let's say, I mean, as a subconscious thing, of course, but those people around us who constantly drag us down with their negativity, with their energy, and we're oftentimes repeating ourselves, and we're giving the same advice, and we see what it is they could change in order to change the experience they're having at the moment, which would be the perspective and the way that they deal with the challenge they're facing at the moment. And when you're basically in that situation and you feel like it's not really working, that all your efforts, all your energy, all your time, all of that is in vain, because they're just kind of unwilling and unable to get out of that, because they have the free will, and if they decide to suffer, they will suffer. And it's those times that I think it's very important for us to back off, to withdraw, and care for ourselves and look after ourselves, that we stay within our own energy, that we don't let them drag us down. And also we have to know that it's not our task in life to save people. It's not our task to save them, to be there all the time, to give more energy than we actually have. Because in the end, it all comes down to self-love, respecting your own energy, your own time, and also your willingness. Are you actually willing? Can you put up with this again? Do you actually feel like it? Do you do it from the heart? Or do you just feel responsible because this person doesn't have anyone else, or this person seems to impose this burden on you, and you feel like you have to carry it for them, you have to resolve it for them? Free yourself from that kind of thinking, from that kind of feeling, because that's not the case. As is the case with us and with every human being, our soul is the force behind everything, and it's our soul that will know what challenges we have to face and what we need to overcome, what patterns and what karmic problems, patterns, blockages, and energies, and all that sort of stuff. And in order to get there, we need to have these challenges in life. And this is why the person you're witnessing who's suffering and you want to help is basically on their way. That's their transformation kind of time, and that's why it's not your task, and you're basically not allowed by their soul to help them and to take that burden off them, because it's theirs. It's their karmic burden, it's their pattern, and it's not your task. It's not your responsibility. And that's something you should always remind yourself of. It's not your responsibility. The person has their own sort of higher plan, which they're following, their transformation time, and it's not yours to take their responsibility, their burden, because honestly, you have enough to deal with yourself, also your own karmic burdens, your own transformation process. So pay attention to that. And if you feel like they're trying to project their own problems onto you or they're blaming you, withdraw. And don't feel guilty about anything. Withdraw and always check back with yourself. Am I feeling well? Do I have enough energy? Do I feel like this person is dragging me down? Or do I feel like, yes, I can deal with this, I can cope with it, and I'm willing to stick with that person for a while and make an effort and make them see how they can change this and that, then that's all good. But always check back with yourself whether you have the time, the willingness, and the energy to do so. And there's also another thing. If you feel like this type of person, the person who's suffering, who has their problems, who's so negative, always keeps coming back into your life. Not that particular person, but lots of people. If you feel like there's a certain pattern behind it, or if you're in a family, if you've incarnated into a family where you have one family member or whoever is very close to you, and you're always exposed to their energy, their negative energy, and their suffering and their problems, then it's very, very likely that you are basically experiencing your own karmic patterns here, which stem from lives in which you were always the one who either was suffering and was giving other people a hard time, or which is very likely that you've always been in this situation where you've been surrounded by people and you wanted to help, you've taken over responsibility that wasn't yours, you've given everything you've had, and it was never enough. People have always come back to you where you were always surrounded by an environment of people who basically drained you energetically and emotionally, because in those lives you were probably not able to set those limits and to look after yourself properly and to live as a person who loves himself, and that's why it's very likely that you've basically taken this task with you from your past lives, from a certain kind of past lives, probably a lot, if you feel like you have this compulsive helper complex and you will always find yourself in situations where people want your help and really drag you down, then it's very likely that this is a task that you need to master in this life, which is why you attract those people, and which is why you've incarnated into this family where there's this certain family member that is draining you so much. So in order to resolve that, as a general thing, you can always ask the angels to disconnect all the energetic ties to those lives in which you were in the same position and could never really get out of it, or from those lives in which you were giving a hard time to people themselves. So disconnect from those lives, from your old characters, which are probably still stuck in your aura, still stuck with you, and they're basically acting through you. You feel theirs, you feel their emotions, maybe their guilt complex, maybe their wish to help and their wish to take responsibility and suffering from people. So make sure you free yourself from that, because that's karmic baggage and you want to get rid of that. So ask the angels to disconnect you from that and to send them all into the light, and then ask them, which is the most important step here, to clean your aura and your heart and your subconscious from those energetic and emotional traces those characters have left in you. So ask them to clean that all, to really flush your whole body, your energetic body, your aura, your soul, with light. Visualize that, do that in the meditation when you've got time and when everything's a bit quiet around you, and do that. And whatever emerges from your heart, be it guilt or be it having a bad conscience, or whatever it is, whatever may occur, whatever may emerge, it's likely that this is an old emotion that is saved in your heart, in your soul, and that now needs to go. So let it emerge, look at it, feel it, and then let the angels really pull it out of your heart. Do that until the pressure, whatever it is that you feel, goes away and gets lighter. So that's a general sort of technique that you can apply in order to resolve that. And also you can ask the angels to take that karma from you, and always be aware that this is a task for you in this life to master, and you should better spend lots of time and effort into mastering that task. Otherwise, it's likely that you will take it with you into another incarnation. So better get rid of it in this lifetime and learn to stay true to yourself, to be authentic. And if you feel like this person isn't really grateful, or if you feel like this person is not willing to take your advice and to appreciate what you've given, then withdraw. Set limits, withdraw, and look after yourself. It's all about you in this life. So I wish you strength and confidence mastering that task, and thanks for watching. Speak to you next time. Bye.